Congressman Sean Duffy, Republican from Wisconsin. Congressman, Senate Republicans clearing the way for a $1.5 trillion in tax cuts. It sounds big and wonderful, but what's it for? Who gets the tax cuts?
Well, I got to tell you, we're not quite clear yet, Ashley. We have our committees, the Tax Writing Committee in the House and the Senate, working with the Tax Writing Group in the White House. And what we're seeing is challenges because we're trying to fit our tax reform into rules of the Senate. So we don't get to do wholesale tax reform because this thing has to be revenue neutral. So
right.
I think what you're going to see is corporate tax reform, at least middle income tax reform. I'm not sure we're going to get to the wealthier side of our tax code, but for sure I think those two will happen. On the corporate side, I think you're not going to get down to 15%, but I do think we'll have a rate that's better than 25. So
is that okay with you?
We're making progress.
Is that okay with you? Somewhat watered down tax plan, certainly watered down from what the president would initially have liked.
Well, I would like wholesale tax reform,
yes.
But I'm not a senator. I'm a House member, and the Senate won't change the rules. And so we're stuck with getting the best deal we can. And, you know, corporate and middle income, I'll take that. If I can't get full-sale tax reform. So, I mean, listen, I know it's frustrating for the American people to watch this.
Yeah.
And, again, if you want to change the rules in the Senate, it only takes 51 votes, so Republicans could actually do this if they wanted.
That's true.
And free ourselves to not be restrained by revenue neutrality and actually reform our code and make America competitive again. But that's not the case. The Senate's not willing to do it, so you're seeing this scaled-back approach. And I think what's key, Ashley, is we saw in the past when the House leads and tries to get the president and the Senate to follow us. We did that in health care and it didn't work. Right now, people are working together, the committees and those in positions of power in each of these three players, in coming up with an agreement before we come out. And I think that's the best approach to get everyone on the same page before we roll.
I still believe something is better than nothing. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with you.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay, listen, you represent Wisconsin. I used to live in Green Bay, by the way. It's a fine state. I have to ask you...
you're a Packer fan.
Always. Got the cheese head. I have to ask you about Governor Scott Walker signing a $3 billion incentive package for electronics giant Foxconn. Money well spent?
Really well spent. I mean, this is going to be thousands of jobs in Wisconsin, billions of dollars invested in our state. This is about expanding and growing the opportunities that we offer to Wisconsin citizens. What's unique, though, is that Democrats, for the most part, have come out in opposition to this package just because Governor Walker, as a Republican, has struck a deal that's good for our state. Democrats, kind of like with Donald Trump, they hate Walker so much they're in opposition to anything good that happens to the state if it comes through Scott Walker. So they're actually advocating against this deal, which is really advocating and fighting against the Wisconsin workers. So this is good in actually not just this investment, but what does this do to the talent and skill set that we develop in our state and the number of offshoot businesses that come from Foxconn? The sky is the limit here for our state and new innovation and new jobs.
If I've got it right, Congressman, the benefits kick in the more that Foxconn hires more people. In other words, it's performance-based, which to me makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so this isn't $3 billion right off the bat. As investments roll from Foxconn, the tranches of money come from the state. And in the end, this is going to be a net win on the revenue side and on the Wisconsin worker side for our state.
Congressman Duffy, thank you so much.
Thanks, Ashley.
Go Packers. All right, now to health.